At my own engagement party, my sister leaned close and whispered 4 words that stopped my heart. He chose me first. I had a champagne glass in my hand. Guests were laughing 2 feet away, and when I looked at my fiancé, he didn't say a single word to defend me. My name is Natalie Brooks, and I'm 34 years old. I'm not someone who walks into a room and turns heads. I'm a mid-level project manager at a small tech company. I meet deadlines, manage budgets, and solve problems before anyone notices they exist. I'm not flashy. I'm not loud. I never have been. My younger sister, Olivia, has always been the opposite. She's the one who gets the applause at every family dinner, the one my parents brag about to neighbors, even when she's done nothing worth bragging about. Growing up, I was the responsible one. I was the one who stayed quiet when things got tense. I paid my own bills starting at 22. I built a calm, stable life the hard way, without shortcuts. When I met Daniel 3 years ago, something shifted in me. He was steady and warm. He said he loved that I was grounded. He said he was tired of chaos and drama. I believed him completely. When he proposed, I cried in a way I hadn't cried in years, because it felt like proof that being loyal and honest and consistent actually mattered to someone. I wasn't the exciting sister. I wasn't rich or glamorous, but I had something they never expected, and soon enough, they'd find out exactly what that was. If you've ever felt invisible inside your own family, if you've ever been the one who works hardest but gets the least credit, this story is for you. Subscribe if you've ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to know you best. Have you ever watched someone else take credit for your effort, your life, or your love? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And before we go any further, hit like or click hype right now, because this story is just getting started. The engagement party was at a small Italian restaurant downtown. String lights, warm bread, good wine, about 30 people, mostly close friends and family. I had spent 2 weeks planning the details, because that's what I do. I plan, I organize, I make things nice for other people. Olivia arrived 40 minutes late. She walked in wearing a red dress, immediately launching into a loud story about her cab driver that made half the room laugh. Within 10 minutes, she had repositioned herself at the center of the party. I watched it happen the way you watch weather change. You see the clouds forming, but you keep hoping it won't rain. I noticed her pulling Daniel aside twice during the first hour. I told myself it was nothing, family chit-chat, but there was something in the way she touched his arm and held his eye contact a little too long. Then she found me near the dessert table. She leaned in close enough that I could smell her perfume. Expensive, the kind her parents had bought her for her birthday last year. "You should really thank me," she said softly, smiling like she was complimenting my earrings. "He chose me first. I let you have him." I didn't move. The champagne glass was cold in my hand. I pulled Daniel into the hallway near the restrooms and told him exactly what she said. He laughed, not a confused laugh, a nervous one. "She's just being Olivia," he said. "Don't make tonight weird." Don't make tonight weird? My own engagement party. Then Olivia's voice carried across the room. "Sometimes the dependable sister is exactly what a man needs when he's done being excited." People laughed awkwardly. A few looked at me with pity they couldn't hide fast enough. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came 2 minutes later when Olivia showed me her phone. Text messages between her and Daniel. Flirty, specific, recent. I walked back into that party, smiled at every person who looked my way, and felt the ground shift completely beneath my feet. The next morning, I told my mother what happened. I showed her the messages on my own phone because Olivia had been careless enough to hold the screen where I could memorize what I saw. My mother set down her coffee cup and sighed. "Natalie, Olivia was just teasing. You know how she gets at parties. Please don't start drama before the wedding. Think about how that looks for everyone. Think about how it looks, not how it feels, how it looks." My father said nothing. He just nodded along with whatever my mother said, the way he always has. 3 days later, at a Sunday brunch with aunts and cousins, Olivia told the table that Daniel had always been drawn to more exciting women before he settled down. She said it with a smile. She said it while passing the orange juice. 2 aunts laughed politely. One cousin stared at her plate. Daniel sat right across from me and said nothing, not one word. That silence told me more than any message ever could. The following week, Olivia came to my apartment alone. She sat on my couch like she owned it and told me I should seriously consider calling off the wedding for my own good, because Daniel, according to her, still had unresolved feelings that wouldn't just disappear with a ceremony and a cake. I listened. I kept my face still. I offered her tea, which she declined. After she left, I sat in my quiet apartment and realized something important. Olivia and Daniel both believed I was the kind of person who absorbs pain and says nothing. They had watched me do it my whole life. They assumed I was doing it now. They were wrong. I stopped crying. I started watching. Here's something my family never took seriously about me. For 3 years, I have been running an anonymous relationship advice blog. No name attached, no photo, just honest storytelling and real advice for people navigating betrayal, family dysfunction, and self-worth. I started it as a way to process my own experiences. I never expected it to grow. It has over 2 million regular readers. Olivia once stumbled across it at a family dinner and laughed at it out loud, called it cheap internet drama for lonely people. She had no idea she was mocking her own sister's work at her sister's dinner table. After the engagement party, I began documenting everything. Every screenshot I could recall, every date, every message, every comment Olivia made publicly. I organized it the way I organize project timelines at work, methodically, clearly, without emotion getting in the way. I started drafting a new story for the blog. I changed names, I blurred identifying details, but the pattern of behavior, the manipulation, the family silence, the complicit partner, it was all there. And my readers, people who had lived through similar betrayals, recognized the dynamic immediately. The draft sat in my folder for 2 weeks, while comments on my older posts kept pouring in, people writing about their own sisters, their own parents, their own quiet humiliations. I had an audience far larger than any family dinner table, and I was almost ready to use it. Ava has been my closest friend since we were 11 years old. She was the one who sat with me at lunch when I was the awkward new kid. She was the one who told me the truth when everyone else told me what I wanted to hear. I called her the week after the brunch incident and told her everything. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Show me the screenshots." I did. She read through all of them without saying anything dramatic. Then she looked up and said, "You're not canceling anything. You're going to let them think they've already won." Olivia had insisted on hosting a wedding planning dinner at her apartment. It framed it as a generous gesture, bringing both families together to discuss dates and venues. What it actually was another opportunity for her to stand at the center of a room that was supposed to be about me. Ava told me to confirm attendance and say nothing. Meanwhile, Olivia grew bolder. She started touching Daniel's shoulder at family gatherings and calling him by a nickname I had never heard before. Daniel responded like a man who had convinced himself that none of it was serious. Family members booked flights for the wedding. My mother started talking about floral arrangements. The machinery of the occasion kept moving forward, carrying everyone along with it. And I kept documenting every timestamp, every location tag, every comment. Ava helped me organize the material into a clean, readable narrative arc. She understood what I was building because she had watched me build things carefully her entire life. The planning dinner was set for a Saturday evening. I had exactly 1 week. On the morning of Olivia's dinner, I published the post. The title was simple: "The Sister Who Tried to Steal My Fiancé." The body of the post included a detailed timeline, blurred screenshots with key phrases still visible, and a clinical breakdown of every manipulation tactic used over the previous 3 weeks. I did not name anyone. I did not need to. Within 4 hours, readers began cross-referencing details. Olivia had made several public social media posts that accidentally aligned with specific dates and locations in the story. A comment thread on a popular relationship forum had already identified her general profile by early afternoon. By the time dinner began at 7 that evening, the post had been shared 11,000 times. I arrived at Olivia's apartment in a simple navy dress. Ava was with me. The table was set beautifully. Candles, a charcuterie board, the kind of effort Olivia made when she wanted to perform generosity. About 20 minutes in, I noticed people checking their phones. First one cousin, then an aunt, then one of Daniel's friends who had been invited to help with venue discussions. Someone turned their screen toward Olivia. The color left her face in a single second. She stood up and pointed at me across the table. "You did this. You put our private situation on the internet for strangers to read?" The room went completely still. I set down my fork. "I write anonymously. No names, no faces, just the truth." "You're lying. You don't have a blog. You don't have followers." "Then explain the screenshots." Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. The messages in the post were word for word. There was no alternate explanation he could reach for in time. My mother looked at me like she was seeing someone she didn't fully recognize. My father stared at the table. Olivia tried to reframe it. She said I had fabricated the messages. She said I was unstable and jealous. But 3 people at the table had already pulled up the blog on their phones and were reading the comment section, where thousands of strangers described experiencing the exact same patterns from people they loved. Public opinion had already moved before anyone at that table said another word. Daniel reached for my hand. I moved it away. "I think we're done." Not loud, not angry, just clear. I picked up my bag. Ava stood up beside me. We walked out together, while the dinner sat untouched and the candles kept burning as if nothing had changed. I I ended the engagement the following morning with a single direct conversation. No shouting, no lengthy explanation. Daniel tried to argue that the messages were misconstrued, that Olivia had pursued him, that he had never acted on anything. I told him that what he failed to do mattered just as much as what he did. He failed to defend me repeatedly. That was enough. The blog post reached over 4 million readers within the first week. Olivia's version of events circulated briefly within our extended family, but the screenshots made denial difficult. Several relatives who had laughed at that brunch reached out to me privately to apologize. I appreciated it, but I didn't need it. I focused on my work. I accepted a senior project manager role I had been delaying. I kept writing, and I launched a paid membership section of the blog that exceeded every projection. Ava and I took a trip to Portugal in the fall. We drank good wine and watched the Atlantic and talked about everything except the people who had tried to make us feel small. They thought my quiet voice meant I had nothing to say. They thought my patience was weakness and my calm was emptiness. For years, they overlooked me in the same room, at the same table, in the same family. They never once asked what I had been building in the silence. If this story hits something real in you, if you've ever been embarrassed, dismissed, or betrayed by someone who was supposed to love you, I want to hear about it. Drop your experience in the comments. You are not alone in this, and your story matters just as much as mine. Subscribe if you believe that standing up for yourself quietly, carefully, and at exactly the right moment is one of the most powerful things a person can do. And click hype to help this story reach someone out there who is sitting in their own silence right now, building something no one else can see yet. Thank you for being here and for listening all the way through. If this story resonated, hit like and leave a comment telling me the moment in the story felt most familiar to you. Every share and every hype helps this reach someone who genuinely needs to hear it. You are part of